All right, here we are. Welcome to Love and Lunch, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joanna Keeble, founder and coach at BigBeautifulBoundaries.com. This is my good friend Jo Cooper.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I just need to laugh because.
No, Bella.
Hi, me handling a lot of sensation and tech. It's still a work in progress. I'm Jo Cooper. Who am I? I am co-founder of Empowering Women to Ignite Their Desires. My main work at the moment is to support women around identifying what they want, how to ask for it, to have fulfilling, turned on relationships.
Lovely. Yeah, so Jo handles the tech for this lovely 20-minute live. We've got 20 minutes. And I just sit here and try and make sure that I got a good angle and decent lighting. It's got a bit sunny. So today, I think we're going to talk a little bit about a question we had last time. We had a question which was about someone going through some physical changes due to menopause and having long COVID symptoms. And she was asking sort of, how do I love myself here? And how do I get on board with this? That's at least part of what I came away with. And I think we did a fair job of like answering that last week, but it felt like there was more to say. And I was kind of meditating on this morning, and my meditation is very, very broad. I wasn't sat there like, give me answers. What I mean is I kind of woke up and I sort of dreamt about it a bit, and I had some half sleep about it, and then I had to wake up and like quickly write some notes in my phone. So I'm just going to talk about this for a sec.
Okay, beautiful. I'd love that.
I'm a note taker, and I've written some notes on this chocolate packet.
I thought you were just casually just having some chocolate was being like
Well, approval for casual chocolate, but these are my notes because I love a bit of I don't want to do the hard work of having to remember what I'm going to say. I want to be completely free to flow in the moment, but then I know when I've got a little bit of gold, I want to write it down, and I'll let the paper do that work. So talking about like changes to your body is one thing. And it's made me think of changes in society as well, or changes around us, right? There's a lot of people who have been let go from their job due to COVID, or they're struggling with these, like we're having a second lockdown now in the UK, and it's a lot of people have just found their swing, right? They've adapted to a new situation and they feel like they've just found their swing, and now we're having like a new change. So there's this jolt, and then we've got US elections happening right now as well, and again people are kind of feeling the weight of that. There's a lot where it's sort of like, how do I get on board with this, or how do I exist in this space? So there's a couple of different things I'm talking about, but I see this point between them where it's a similar sort of thing. Because that question, how to love yourself there, or how do I love myself in this spot? It's a forever question. It's an evergreen question. It's an always question of, can I love myself here? It's almost like a dare. Can you love yourself there? What are your excuses for, not taking care of yourself, or for resisting what's actually true? The first thing I've written is map versus territory. And it's sort of about the way that we can look at what's real and what's happening and say, this is wrong. How can this be? How can I possibly accept this? And when that's about your body, I've done that. That is a harsh experience when you're in that spot where it's like, is this really me? Is this my body? Is this what I have to work with? And for me, it came in the form of not being able to do what I could do before. And so there's a huge element there of ego death, of accepting that I am not what I strongly associated with. And I don't operate in the way that I used to operate so well before. And I held on to that spot of discomfort for a very long time. And all I can tell you is that when I finally surrendered, and it hurt, it's ego death, it was letting go of who I felt safe being.
Totally.
And finally, right? And finally accepting I'm not that thing, but I'm still here. So that thing isn't what I was. So whatever it is that I thought I had to be or do to survive is not there anymore, and I'm still here. It's about getting on board with the territory. The territory is real and the map no longer works. We need to do a new map.
I love that. And I just want to say something in response. It was interesting what you just picked up on. What I heard was like choosing to respond to the new change rather than react.
I hear that.
You know, and I think it's different. And I think it was so interesting. I was walking through London yesterday after I had my photo shoot done.
Oh, yeah.
And the energy in London, it just felt really tight, super tight. And I was just like, it's really interesting when there's any kind of like change or there's new rules. It's just like, you know, there's something around, yeah, like we can either react and being like, oh, bloody hell, we're going into lockdown. Oh, we can't do this. But we basically go into this tight place or this scarcity around like certain limitations. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like saying that, you know, especially around like people who have lost their jobs and stuff, like obviously that's going to bring an element of, you know, an element of emotion. And I think there's something deeper that's been asked in this place when there is a new rule. And you said something at the end about letting go. And it's just like, oh, if something's been put into place that in a sense we're actually powerless over, we're actually powerless, we don't have control. And it's actually a place to be like, okay, so if this is happening, what would I like? Because you can actually still manifest and create things. And I heard someone speak about this. It's like we've always been brought up into the world with like rules, but the rules are just looking a bit different.
Yeah. And with that react or respond, I want to say I have a lot of approval for people reacting right to their body changing and to the world outside changing. It's not to say that people can't react, right? I think, but what we're both pointing to is kind of the place where there's something else that you can do as well. And when you get to sort of look at it from different eyes, from a place of finding that place where it feels okay to accept in some format, not accept because it's good, not accept because you like it, not accept because it's right and everything's right with the world, just because it's fucking true, you know, because there's some truth to it. And once we accept what's actually happening, we can really work with it.
Totally. And I just wanted to say, like, I normally go into reaction before I respond. that is my auto like thing,
no,
like
before the yes.
Yeah, it's like I have to go into react because it feels like, but there's a way that I react in a way that I have a supportive network around me that I can like let those feelings out and then be like, okay, so how do I want to navigate this? I like go into like the hot frustration, anger thing. I have total permission for that. And I think it's totally like legit to go on that ride. But I just think there's something about going in on that ride and full force ahead and hoping things will change. I think what I'm coming to is like, I don't personally, I think it's very difficult to be in reaction and have change which is really going to fully serve you. I think when I come into a place of response, like a lot more is available and a lot more can happen, because everything begins to soften, you know, and I can see more and yeah, and I just think there's more available.
I love it. I love all that permission to have your reaction and then sort of recognize that when you're in that place, you're sort of in red, right? In like a traffic light system of consciousness and comfort. You're in red, which is like lost, gone, unconscious, and just having your like, fuck, or like, no, 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 no. And there's a place for that, and to let ourselves have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to know that that is not, you're not grounded in that place. So have it, let yourself have that feeling. Don't judge yourself for that spot. You know, we need to mourn sometimes what we're losing. We feel like we're losing, something's changing, it may never change back. We can let ourselves have that grief, but also let yourself know that that is not the place where you can access possibilities, and the place for sort of, you know, coming to grounded possibilities of actually connecting to what you want is not in that place of feeling the don't want. So have the don't want as long as you want. Tell the world to go fuck itself and be like, I fucking hate, and then yeah, it's kind of like when we started the first lockdown, I went into sort of the tight circle of fear. It wasn't all conspiracy theories, but it was very much like, right, we need to get the slot booked. I'm going to get the shopping. I'm going to be strategic. I'm going to be up every night and work out the algorithm or the pattern or when the slots are released. I've managed to get some pasta on eBay, and it was like, I was like, like, get the food.
That's the thing, right, isn't it?
And that's where I needed to be. And it took me a long time to actually like let go, hand over the food shopping to my partner and say, okay, I'm going to let that piece go now. That's a place where I go to control. I go to a tightness and a controlling, because that's where I've learned to get my safety there, can actually let go of that. And so the next phase, when I was ready, brought in, actually it was scary to let go, but when I found places to like, it's going to be okay, we're not going to starve, we've got enough pasta now.
It's interesting what we do when we're in fear, and and how control runs the show.
Yeah, and then
I realize that a lot of my life I've actually tried to control a lot of things out of fear. A hell of a lot. It's only during, I would say, this period of lockdown where I've actually just come into a place of like, where I was gripping, or where certain things were just really tight. And it would even be like experiences that I'd have with friends, like if they didn't look a certain way, then that must mean that I'm not having this type of experience that I really wanted. And it's just like, oh, if I can just show up and be with my friend and not have any expectations and just be present, there's something really beautiful that starts to happen in that moment alone.
You just said it, presence. And all the time that we're gripping to the fantasy of what it should look like, or the expectation, and we're going, this doesn't look like the thing that it's supposed to be, we're making reality wrong. I understand why, but it's not about that. It's really about, does it serve you? And, you know, do you get to feel good there? Oh, so good. What did you just say? You said something really good. I'm just looking for the word that it resonated with. Oh, yes. I've written willingness to let go of how we think it needs to look. So like coming back to our question last week, I was thinking this woman who's worried about the impacts of long COVID, that, you know, what she's experiencing, very frustrating, menopause and long COVID, they both feel like one way life changes. And I think you know, what's really useful is to look at the fears that are coming up there. And a lot of it is fear of what you're losing, fear of giving up, and, you know, having to let go of something that you've had. And fear, what I came to is like a fear that I can't meet my needs, fear that I'm not going to get what I need, I'm not going to have the nourishment and the joy and the connection that I need. And for me, with my fatigue, for example, it's been about letting go of how I think that needs to look. That's part of the ego death. I had to relinquish my belief that I know how everything has to look, and open up to having it come in different ways.
Beautiful. And you know what? Self-care, like I have a thought about how self-care might look like, but it changes every day. You know, I had this even today. I fell asleep after my meditation for 2 hours. And I was just like, oh, that was obviously just something I needed, and gave my body what it really wanted, and got out of this habit of like, oh, if I don't get up after my meditation and do this and this, then I'm gonna like fail at what I'm meant to be doing today. And I'm like, actually, just even thinking that alone it doesn't fill me with like life and ignition to be able to want to do things. I'm like, actually, even having that thought alone is like garbage. It's like spiritual garbage that I can actually just get rid of. And it's just like, actually, the thing that is actually just surrendering to that space in between of like, oh, I let my body have this thing. And like, that to me is just love. Even changing my thinking process around what my body wanted, because it went into something, went into the sleep. And actually, I feel more alive from having that thing. And there's no need to have any negative thinking. It's actually not serving my higher self. It's not doing anything. I just call it like spiritual garbage now, and be like, okay, bye-bye, and let go of it and just get on with my day. Because what am I going to do? Waste time thinking about how I should have done this, this and this. Again, the expectation. It's just like, actually, no, thank you. And saying bye to those things. So yeah, I think it's really, you know, love and being with what we need in particular moments. Like, it's actually to do with like, if your body is asking for something and your mind is trying to meddle with that, for me it's an alignment of like, you know, mind, body and heart, and being in congruency with that, and just being like, okay, this is what's going on. Not trying to tell one thing that it's wrong and vice versa, you know. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what's happening.
It's back to that control piece for me. Like when you waste all that energy distrusting the message that you just got for what you want, what you feel like doing or don't feel like doing. And we put so much energy into judging, like playing judge and jury, to try and second guess and calculate if we were right or wrong, or if we should be having that desire, and actually in the process waste loads of energy and loads of time, and giving ourselves sort of negative experiences because of the negative feeling and the misjudgment. I've had that myself. So I've got this huge cold sore, and I've been feeling like that's just a thing that I like to use throughout life to say I'm not good enough. And I couldn't get the lighting quite right today. I mean, what am I trying to achieve here? But if I want to, you know, my inner critic's got the invitation there. Do you want to make this a bad thing? I wasn't sure how to position the camera today. That's a bad thing. I've got a workshop to talk about in a second, and I haven't set up the sort of sign up page, and that's a bad thing. And today, for me, it's just been about saying that's okay. That's okay. And it feels like this whole year and continuing, it's fucking daring me to sink into, can you love yourself here? Do I dare to love myself here? Is it true? It's like a test. It's like a test all the time. Like, will you love yourself here? Will you love yourself here? Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think ending on that point, do I love myself here? And when something feels like a disempowering thought, how can you just flip it in the moment? And I think that is the beauty of like what would then begin to happen if you started to switch all of these beliefs up around like what actually happens to yourself when you flip these negative things about yourself and being like, oh my God, I'm the most successful woman today. I am shiny and bright and I really want to be in service to other people around me. Like, how would that start to transform your energy instead of saying, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that? Because fuck, I wouldn't want to do anything if I was thinking and feeling that all the time.
It's that, I think on the baseline, you're basically saying, the way that I feel it is my inner critic wants to say, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. And it's like, can I dare to say, no, this is right, or what if this was right? Or maybe I'm nailing it all the time. Edgy.
I love it. All right, my lovely. We've come to the end of our love and lunch. Thank you to all of those people who have signed in and watched today. If you're watching the replay, #replay and let us know. We would love to know who has been watching, and if there's anything that has resonated, get in touch with us. If you have any questions, that would also be wonderful too. So yeah, do you want to go first, Joanna, and let us know what you...
Totally. I've got an exciting workshop coming up. So I am running a workshop. I'm still building out the exact details with my lovely partner, Daniel. So Daniel Langford is going to run this workshop with me. It's called the Yes and No Workshop. It's on the 22nd of November, 3 p.m.
I'm so sorry.
Those vibing on it. So 22nd of November. 3 o'clock UK time. The Yes and No Workshop. And I'm going to be running it with Daniel Langford, facilitator and NLP practitioner. He's also trained in counseling and cognitive hypnotherapy, and he's just awesome. If you're in my free group, Big Beautiful Boundary Builders, then you'll see a lot of him. We've got a video in there that we've done together about relationships. And if you want to sign up, you can go to bigbeautifulboundaries.com, and there's a little sign up for news and events bar right at the top of that site.
Amazing. I am so, when you were speaking, my team,
I'm going to be screaming the whole time you do your...
Oh gosh, that is so funny. Yeah, what's I got coming up? Oh my God, I just posted my Facebook group. I'm really excited, actually, super excited, because I'm going to be hosting a masterclass this Sunday for everyone who's in my Facebook group. I'm also offering those women who feel like, who are yes in their body, that want the VIP treatment. So when you message me yes, I'll let you know what the VIP treatment is. So that feels really cool. And so my workshop, my masterclass this Sunday at 6 o'clock is gonna be on the Melt experience, which is how to magnetize exactly what you want in a relationship. So I'm going to be guiding you through all the luscious and juicy steps on how to have that, and it's going to be superb. And I'd love people to come into the VIP experience as well, because it's going to be it's going to be really special and quite witchy and magical at the same time. So yeah, there's some kind of connection. I'll give you a little teaser, some kind of connection before and after. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So yeah, I've dropped my group in there. Come into my group and I'll be happy to share more about that with you. So yeah.
Ooh, Sunday.
That is on Sunday. Yes, it is.
Right,
so
lovely.
Yeah. Okay, my lovelies. We are gonna love you and leave you. We hope you have had fun. And if you haven't, that's also okay too.
That's okay. That's my mantra today.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, yeah, but I'm sure if you're still watching now, you probably do really like it. So hey ho. Anyway, my loves, we're gonna go. Speak to you soon, and we'll catch up with you all next week. Lots of love.
Big love.